Hey, what is up, guys? Bluntguts here. This is a Watch Over Realms video. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I really appreciate it. We have got the Gladiator's Gauntlet going on right now. Goddamn, I am just so excited about this. In my opinion, this is a phenomenal idea by Moonton. I love the idea of having a single elimination, 256 guild, bracket-based tournament going on every single day. We are going to be getting a new match, new opponent. We're going to narrow the field down until one guild remains. Likely going to be mad because, well, they're good for one thing, but they also probably spent the most. I think my cluster mates Eternals might be giving them a run for their money at this point. I don't know about as far as competition-wise, but I think that financially speaking, they're probably getting pretty close. But in any case, I am super excited about this. In this video, I am going to be breaking down the kind of the structure of this. I am going to be talking about how exactly these matches are going to work. I'm going to talk about the new maps. There are some changes to the tower and central keep maps. They're largely the same, but there are some placement differences. There are some new tiles that we can place units in. There's some tiles that we used to be able to place units in that we can no longer do so. So I'm going to be talking about those differences and just giving you some of my insight on exactly how I think this thing will unfold. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about the rewards here. That's what everybody cares about, right? It's the rewards. That's what I care about the most. No, I'm just kidding. I care about the competition. It's all about pride. But I care about both. I'm being completely honest with you. But we've got some cool stuff going here. Just for getting into the tournament, you are going to get, let's see, the Garnet Guard pattern here. This is a pattern that you can put on your guild banner, which is kind of cool. You're also going to get 1,000 guild coins. You're also going to get a refining crystal, and you are going to get in shards the equivalent of 1 legendary skill crystal, which is awesome. I really appreciate it. Those are solid rewards. If you do manage to win your first match, meaning that you go from the top 256 into the round of 128, you are going to get this badass looking Greed skin right here. Greed is a GvG MVP. It is certainly something that is going to strike fear into the hearts of your opponents when you face. I think we want to just kind of compare the two. We got ugly purple Greed right here, and then we got badass royal golden armor. Don't fuck with me, Greed, and that is that's something that I want on my account. He's got these cool little kind of turquoise stripes on him as well. Yeah, really, really cool. I just, I do like skins. I don't really pay for them for the most part. I paid for one skin in this game, and that was the Emirat skin, and it was only because it came with a bunch of ancients at the same time, which I did need. So, but I don't actually typically buy any of these skins because I'm very like performance driven, I guess. I'm results driven, and as much as I think they're cool, they're not going to help me win anymore. So I just don't personally. No shade, obviously. If that's your thing, if you do like them, then more power to you. I know that there's a lot of folks in my guild who do really enjoy the skins, and that is something that they like to go after. So getting one for free though, hey, I am all about that. It's kind of like a status symbol. We're able to if you see a Greed in the future that looks like this, you'll know that person was in a guild that could at least win one round of the tournament, which is great. So very, very cool. That is, in my opinion, the highlight of the rewards, and it is going to be available for basically half the people that did make it into the tournament, which is nice. I did think that it needed to be some delineation there, but at the same time, it is nice that a large number of people are going to be able to enjoy that skin. I do love it. So if you're thinking 128 times 30, there's going to be basically 3,500 different people that do get this, assuming that all the guilds are filled up with their members. So very, very cool. Other than that, there's really not all that much difference here. It's really just the amounts. As you go up, you're going to get more refining crystals. You are going to get more guild coins. You're going to get more shards of the summoning crystals, or excuse me, not summoning crystals, the skill crystals. And then if you can make it into the top 4, you're going to start getting even more of all that stuff. Really, the only other difference, the only thing that everybody's going to miss out for, except for, I presume, Mad, but I do wish the best of luck to my cluster mates in Celestial's Eternals. And get this cool chat bubble, I guess, for all the people that talk in game, which is not me. So I don't really feel like I'm missing out on that much for that. But yeah, just cool. I mean, minor rewards at the end of the day. It's more about status stuff for the most part. I mean, I guess the skill crystals are nice and the refining crystals are nice, but other than that, it really is mainly just, it's not going to be game-breaking, It's not going to be like somebody wins this tournament, all of a sudden they're going to have a leg up on everybody else, which I think is how it's supposed to be. There is a leaderboard here. I don't know exactly how this is going to manifest. I'm actually reading this text down at the bottom of the screen for the first time here. During the Gladiator's Gauntlet ranking calculation phase, current standings are displayed. Guilds eliminated in the same round share identical ranks and rewards except for the top 4. So I don't know how this is going to work. I'm really not sure exactly what this means. There is going to be ranking, obviously. The way that this works right now, everybody was matched up with their kind of their opposite in the rankings. Mad, who is in number 1, should have been matched up against number 256. The number 2 guild should have been matched up against 255, etc., all the way towards the middle. And as things go progressively, these brackets are going to narrow. And so as the rounds, the total number of guilds that are in the brackets still shrink, we are going to get closer and closer. So, ultimately, if the first and the second ranked guild, they should be on opposite sides of the bracket. If they do win all their matches, they should end up facing each other in the final match, which I think is likely what's going to happen. But, we'll have to wait and see, obviously. Like I said earlier, the change in maps is something that could shake things up a little bit because people haven't had time to completely develop and kind of hone in on the optimal strategies based on the changes. All right, guys, let's talk about the way that a Gladiator's Gauntlet match will differ from a standard GvG match. And I think first and foremost, it is that we will get a new opponent every single day. That's right. Each match is going to last for a single day. On top of that, we have what, at least from what they've told us, I'm going to put it up on the screen right now. They've told us there is a 4-hour window before the match ends where we can adjust our defenses. I don't really understand what that means, because if you look at this here, I don't want to go there, but if I go to my garrison team here, I can change the defense right now. I can edit it, I can update gear, I can do all of these things right now, and yet we're not in that 4-hour window that they were talking about, so I don't really understand that. If you look at the timer right below the versus sign in the center of the top of the screen right here, there are 4 hours and 42 minutes left in this match. Now, doing that math from right now, this is going to end about 20 minutes before the server resets for my time. That is, unfortunately for me, is about 3 in the morning, so I'm not going to be up to see exactly how this works. My assumption is that the new match will start as soon as the server resets. Per what I have up on the screen right now from the patch notes, it does say that there is a 20-minute period before reset where they are doing matchmaking. So I would assume they do the matchmaking then, and then the new match starts immediately after that. But I'm sure some of you will be up at that time. Maybe my European friends will be able to give me a shout out about exactly how that works when the server does reset, and I can update that in a future video. That would be nice. Beyond that, one thing I will note, I have done my attacks at this point. I am going to have my attack video in a separate video. I will have a link to it in the description of this video, so if you want to go check that out, please do so. I would appreciate that. I've used my attacks, but you can see personal attack attempts 0 out of 4. And I guess the logic is, since the match is only one day, there's half as many attacks that you get to do. So we're only going to get 4 attacks versus 8 attacks that we normally get in a GvG match. Beyond that, the total health on all of these different towers has been cut down as well. So instead of 90 health on each one of the towers, it is now 60 health. Additionally, you can only attack each defense one time, meaning that you can't clear one of these out all on your own. Somebody is going to have to either duplicate your attack or find another way to beat it before you can actually defeat a single tower. Central Keeps similarly have had their total health reduced down to 90 from 120, meaning that you're going to need 3 separate attacks, three attacks by separate individuals in order to take down one of these Central Keep teams. So that is important to note. Another thing to note is that we will not be able to zero anybody out in this match. There are not enough attacks to do that. So if you do some math here, based on what I just told you, you need 2 successful attacks to take out each tower defense, 3 successful attacks to take out each Central Keep defense. You would need 130 total attacks in order to take out all of these 4 different strongholds, plus the, what do they call it, the Guild Fortress in the center. So there are not enough attacks provided per round in order to zero anybody out. That is important to note. Even if you won every single one of your 120 attacks, which is how many you have now, because we've all only got 4 attacks per guild member. Even if you won every single one of those, you would not be able to clear everything. We need 130 attacks to make that happen. So that is important to note. So let's go take a look at the maps. All right, guys, let's take a look at the Central Keep map here. Let's start with the deployable ground tiles here. So we've got 2 tiles right here. Typically, we used to just have 1 tile in the middle right here. Now there are 2. So you can deploy one there, and you can deploy somebody right here. Where I've got Ymir. This tile where Toreador is was always deployable. The tile where Ymir was not. Previously, we used to be able to deploy somebody one tile further back to that, to the left, and that is something that drastically changes the way that you can play defense on this map, because you are now kind of stuck in a spot where you cannot actually create a degree of separation between the tank and a ground-based range fighter. So that is an issue, because now if I place Ymir here, now Ymir is going to be exposed to uncommon destroyers. He is going to be exposed to the bookkeeper damage, things like that. Splash damage becomes a major concern for any ground-based unit that you are deploying in that spot. So I think we're going to see some more range-heavy comps, maybe some double tank spot comps in here, where we've got Toreador and Ymir. So that is something to keep in mind. That is going to change the dynamics a bit. As far as the deployable spots up here, this spot where Ymir is right now did not used to be deployable. That is a new spot. Used to be able to deploy somebody directly to the left of Ymir, and that is not the case anymore. These two deployable spots are the same as they were before. Now let's talk about the platform units, because that is where the biggest differences are. So we've got a bunch of the same spots deployable, but this spot where we've got Hatsit right now did not used to be deployable. The spot directly to the right of Hatsit, where I've got Greed right now, that is a spot that used to be deployable, but it's not someplace that we that we can deploy anybody right now, of course. Now, similarly, this spot right here, directly to the north of Hatsit, and then this spot over here, neither of these were deployable spots in the previous map. Similarly, this tile up here, where I've got Greed right now, was not deployable, although this one, where I've got Greed right now, certainly was. And then if we're looking at the spots on the far left-hand side of the map in the bottom left-hand corner, this spot was deployable previously. However, we can no longer deploy anybody immediately to the south of that. However, we do have access to this tile right here, which was not included in the previous iteration. So one thing I will note, this is a spot where I used to deploy Ingrid oftentimes, or Dahlia, and now their range is going to be one less, because you have to deploy them one tile further to the left, further away from the direction that the demon soldiers are coming from. That is going to limit the viability of a defense that is going to take advantage of the bottom lane, which is what we more often than not have seen as this map has been around for longer and longer. That seems to be the spot where everybody does set their defense. Now, there are some spots on the left-hand side where people do set stuff up. We'll see how this kind of evolves over the course of the week, but that is kind of the exciting thing. I think with these changes, the dynamics have shifted in these maps, and all of a sudden, everybody's not an expert anymore. So I do think there might be a degree of viability, or volatility, I should say, but also a degree of viability for certain spots that was not there previously. So I am excited about that. All right, guys, we talked about the central keep map. Let's talk about the tower map now. I do think that the changes to the tower map are a little bit more significant than the ones that you did see in the central keep map. So the first one I want to highlight is this one right here, right where I dropped Ingrid right here. And I dropped Ingrid specifically there for a reason, because this tile was not in the original tower map in Season 5. Right now, you can drop in either a Dahlia or an Ingrid, somebody with a platform unit with an extended range right here who can face downward and hit this entire north-south lane the demon soldiers have to go through when they are deployed. That is massive. A lot was made at the beginning of Season 5 about how they wanted to eliminate the ability of Ingrid and Dahlia to really dominate in that in what's now the central keep, was previously the tower map in Season 4. That bottom lane, they had that long lane here, and now Ingrid has got 3 tiles worth of space right here that she can just eat up all the demon soldiers as they come through. That is a big deal, and I think it is going to change exactly how we're able to approach attacking some of these maps, because I think that's a deployable spot where we're going to see a lot of big damage come out. Beyond that, these tiles here, these 4 tiles are all consistent. These diagonal tiles in the bottom where I'm kind of moving Carnelian right now, those are all consistent. These 2 over here are consistent as well, and so are the 2 that are over here. However, up in this corner, these 2 tiles, there is some differences there. So this tile right here, where I've got Carnelian right now, that one was in the previous iteration. However, this tile right here was not. And I'm not doing any testing on range or anything like that right now. However, I do think that if you can get a healer in here for something like this, it's kind of a similar situation to the other tile that I showed you on the right-hand side, where Ingrid now has a clear shot at this entire lane right here. Now, I don't know how feasible it is. Maybe you end up putting a Carnelian here or something like that. That might be the one way to go about it. Maybe, you know, as long as you've got heals, Ingrid in particular does have relatively high base HP, so she should be able to somewhat be able to counter the Garnet Guards in the same way that like a Praetus does right now. Praetus, if you don't know, because of his high base stats, he is very hard to one-shot with the Garnet Guards, so that makes him kind of a Garnet Guard counter to a certain degree. And I do believe that Ingrid could be used in a similar fashion. There just hasn't been a spot that was really compelling to deploy her where she was going to get targeted by the Garnet Guards. So that's something to keep in mind, and certainly something that I think we might see as this does progress. That's going to do it for the platform tiles here. Let's talk about the ground-based tiles. So over here, these 3 tiles are all consistent. These 4 tiles right here are all consistent as well. However, there is one switch that this tile right here, where I'm kind of shaking Ardea right now, that tile what used to be open and deployable in the previous one. It was really not used, period. There was really no reason to use that tile in any kind of situation. It really opened your defense up to being attacked in some ways that you didn't really want to have happen. So I think they probably removed that because it wasn't in use, would be my guess, or maybe, you know, they removed it to kind of add in this other tile, which I'm going to show you right now, which again is perfect for Ardea here, kind of in the same way that Ingrid was really useful, because she has this long single lane or single width range on her attacks, but it's this 4 tile range in front of her. It's massive, and now demons are going to have to walk down this long corridor right here. If you want to put an Ardea or somebody similar, like a Valkyra or something like that, could be put in this spot, and I think that could be really lethal when you use it in conjunction with some other heroes as well. So that is certainly something to keep in mind. I think, you know, one thing I will say, if you do place a tank right here, which is where we typically would see tanks in Season 5, you are going to expose the Ardea tile to being bombed and things like that. However, you don't really have to do that, right? You could very easily put your tank down here, and then if the tank gets bombed, it's not going to hit Ardea in that case. On top of that, I don't know how feasible it's going to be to bring bombs in against this long lane with a full 4 tile range for Ardea as well. So that is something else to keep in mind. Those are the main changes here. I don't know that there's quite as many actual tile changes in this map as there were in the other one. However, I do see them as being more significant because I think they allow you to leverage in more powerful heroes, and they make your demon soldiers basically have to deal with kind of an extended range in a way that I don't think you saw in the other one. I felt like the Central Keep kind of busted up a lot I should say the Central Keep changes kind of busted up a lot of comps that were pretty standard in Season 5. This is going to open up more options, I think, on the tower map, and that could be particularly lethal. So that is that for the map. I think that is about it, guys. I've tried to be as comprehensive as I possibly could with this video, but I am sure that I missed some stuff. So if you have knowledge, please do drop it in the comments below. You know, it takes a village. I need all you guys to let me know what I may have missed here, or if you have any further context you feel like is relevant for people to know, please do sound it off in the comments. I would love to know it personally, so just selfishly let me know, but I'm sure there's other folks that are viewing this video as well that would appreciate your insight, so please do share your knowledge. We are done right now with the round of 256. We've got 1 attack left here, and you know, I think pretty confidently I can say this is going to be a win. Pretty sure they're mathematically eliminated as I'm kind of looking at this, but you know, either way, I think that we will be moving on to the round of 128. GG to Original Savages, our opponent. We do appreciate you guys, and I am looking forward to progressing in this. I do think that we have a decent shot. I think at minimum, I'd like to see us make it to the round of 32. If we could make it to the Sweet 16, that would be wonderful as well. Elite 8 would be like, I would be over the moon. I can't imagine we would make it any further than that, we'd have to get some very favorable matchups in probably in the round of 32 and the round of 16 in order to make it that far. But this is super exciting. I just love this tournament aspect to it. I'm a competitive player in my mind. That's what really kind of motivates me in these kinds of games. So being able to do a kind of rapid fire tournament to close out the season, I think it's just a fantastic move by Moontown. I do think that one way that they could improve it, I think I mentioned it earlier, but if I didn't, I'll say it again here, is that I would love to see some kind of way to, when you are out of the tournament, or really even if you are in the tournament, like I'd like to be able to look in and see what's going on with these matches, right? Especially, maybe not right now when there's so many matches going on, but say like when we get to the round of 16, we should all be able to go in and view the different matches. I think it would be great, even if our guild, Celestials Arbiters, is not in the tournament still. If we get knocked out, I'd still love to be able to go in and provide like kind of analytical coverage of like what's going on and like see these different matchups and everything like that. I think that's how you kind of create this excitement about something like this. So I think probably too late to do anything like that this go around, but Moonton, if you are listening, I'd love to see something like that. I'm sure there's some folks that would love to see that as well. So with that said, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Please do like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video, and I will catch you all tomorrow.